says that she loves me. Isn't it lovely when the one you loving is the one you're loving?
I was about to turn in, and then the things happened in Georgia. Shout out to Georgia. Shout out to what went down. A fourth indictment was levied against the former president of these United States and 18 of his favorite people, including Rudolph Giuliani. And you know what? Let the person who brought the indictments down say it, because I think it's so much more poignant to hear it from the mouth of the power structure, the mouth of the person that brought these RICO charges down, the one and only great attorney Fani Willis. Play it, Ms.
Specifically, the indictment brings felony charges against Donald John Trump, Rudolph William Louis Giuliani, John Charles Eastman, Mark Randall Meadows, John Cheeseborough, Jeffrey Clark, Jenna Lynn Ellis, Ray Stallings Smith III, Robert David Cheeley, Michael A. Roman, David James Schaefer, Sean Micah Tresher Steele, Stephen Cliffgard.
1 minute.
Harrison William Prescott Floyd, Travion C. Cootie, Sydney Catherine Powell, Kathleen Austin Latham, Scott Graham Hall, and Misty Hampton, also known as Emily Misty Hayes. Every individual charged in the indictment is charged
30.
one count of violating Georgia's Racketeer, Influenced, and Corrupt Organizations Act through participation in a criminal enterprise in Fulton County, Georgia, and elsewhere to accomplish the illegal goal.
10 seconds, mic's on.
Donald J. Trump to seize the presidential term of office beginning on January 20th, 21.
That was the voice, of course, of Fani Willis. She's the Fulton County District Attorney. She read the 18, including Donald John Trump, gave their full government names, read all of their names publicly. This is a RICO investigation. And if anyone knows about RICO, it's pretty much a done deal, and you're going to serve some time. And I'm even hearing we may finally get what I've been waiting for, a mugshot, a mugshot, a mugshot. I think we're going to get mugshots and fingerprints this time. I think he has a week or two to show up to court. There's also scheduled a Republican debate. It's a debate about whether or not Donald John Trump will show up to that. He and his 18 co-defendants, and some are arguing why so many, because I believe that Fani Willis has a plan. I'm going to bet she has a plan that maybe 10 of these people are going to turn. I don't think it's going to be 19 people actually prosecuted. I think 10 of them are going to turn and cut a deal. I'm looking at the list. It's ironic that Rudolph Giuliani, who people dubbed America's mayor, even though he hid out in a bunker during 9/11, while another Rudolph Washington, ran the city of New York and made sure people got out safely. He now is no longer here. But while the coward was cowering underground, and who was responsible for there being a lack of communication that probably led to more deaths during 9/11, because the police and the EMTs and the first responders couldn't really communicate because that system hadn't been updated. While Rudy Giuliani was underground in a bunker, New York collapsed. But it was Rudy Washington who was there to save the day. That man got a lot of people to safety, as the world dubbed this man America's mayor. But we now know him as the man that went to the wrong Waldorf Astoria. What was it? What hotel did he think he was going to and ended up at like a construction site? And then we saw him again with hair dye running down his face because he is an absolute disaster. He was on his way out as mayor when 9/11 happened because he had the audacity to bring his mistress into Gracie Mansion with his wife and children, still part of his family. He's an absolute disaster. I want to also talk about the irony that it was Rudy Giuliani who spearheaded the Manhattan U.S. Attorney's Office in the 1980s before going on to become mayor. RICO, that was part of his thing. It's a twist, right? He pioneered the use of RICO laws in New York to go after the mob. That was the thing that made him, famous in New York, and is one of the reasons why he won the mayoralty there. But RICO was his jam, and now it might be his undoing. I hope so. Also on this list, I'm just cherry picking. I'm not going through all 19. We know Donald John Trump, but Travion Cootie, K-U-T-T-I, I think she has the cooties. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly. I really don't even care because she's a complete dumpster fire. Former publicist for Kanye West, former spokesperson for R. Kelly. That's all you need to know. If I just stopped there, you'd be like, okay, thank you, Smiz. It was the Four Seasons Landscaping. He thought he was meeting at the Four Seasons Hotel. Oh my God, this is amazing. Anyway, Travion Cootie, K-U-T-T-I, not a cutie. Definitely not. And I'm not saying that she doesn't look good. It doesn't matter. It's just her behavior is very ugly. But we don't really know the exact relationship between she and Kanye West. She was listed at some point as his publicist on his website and other places. Reuters published a report in her role in this probe. A spokesperson for West has released a statement that Travion Cootie was not associated with Kanye West or any of his enterprises at the time of the facts that are being reported. He don't want nothing to do with this. He's like, I got enough trouble. I'm already struggling here with my own situations. I don't need any of this, but sorry, sir, you are kind of tied to this a little bit. For a period of time, Kanye West put on that MAGA hat and he was best friends with Donald J. Trump. And for a period of time, Cootie worked as a campaign manager for a QAnon supporter, Angela Stanton King, who I think is related or the niece or the aunt of somebody in the King family, another problematic person. And she ran for office and lost, and for the seat formerly held by John Lewis. But weeks after the 2020 election, Cootie traveled to the home of Ruby Freeman, who was a Georgia election worker. And she was scared. She was getting death threats. She was being threatened for falsely accusing, she was being falsely accused by Trump of manipulating the votes. She was the reason why he lost, so that, what happens then. So she's getting death threats. So Cootie shows up at her house shortly after the election, knocks on the door and offers to help her. Now she gave her name. Hi, I'm Travion Cootie. She didn't say that she worked with Kanye West, but she said that she was sent there by a high profile individual who she didn't identify. Then she gave Freeman a message. This poor woman, cowering, upset, being threatened, death threats. She gave her a message. She said, confess to Trump's voter fraud allegations or people would come to her home in 48 hours. So she told her to tell the world that you tampered, that Trump won, tell the world that Trump won, or someone will be showing up at your door in 48 hours and then you will be taken to jail. But Freeman,
you big dummy.
Oh, so wait, is that for Cootie Smith that she did this?
D-U-M-M-Y, period.
Okay. Yes, I agree with you, Fred Stanford. So she said that Freeman would go to jail. Freeman, courageous person, Ruby Freeman, that name should go in the annals of history, said, nope, I'm not doing it. I'm not going to lie. So this is how she became associated with this. She put pressure on this 62-year-old temporary election worker to come up with this conspiracy theory about how the votes weren't all counted and blah, blah, blah. So that's why she's up on these racketeering charges. I don't think that that's going away. I think she might actually go to jail. Wouldn't it be interesting if only she and Trump went to jail? Anyway, Also on the list, also of the 19, we should come up with a name for them. 866-801-8255, something clever. 866-801-TALK. The 19, the numbnut 19, like something that will stick on them. The 19. You know how the 300, we still talk about the 300. We should be talking about the 19. The other person on there, so it's Giuliani, Travion Cootie, of course, Mark Meadows. We can get into that. And what's the chick's name that was with Giuliani when the dye was running down his face?
Oh.
What's her name? She got a man, the numbskull 19. I like that, Smith. The numbskull 19. That's cute. QT. Harrison Floyd, who is the other melanated person. So two melanated people going down for this. I think both melanated people are gonna probably go to jail. If I'm I don't know, maybe, I don't know. But according to Reuters, he is the campaign aide for Trump, executive director of a group called Black Voices for Trump. I need to know who these people are. Are they the people who are unhoused that they gave old t-shirts to? How many people in this group? And if anyone listening is part of Black Voices for Trump, give me a call. I have some questions. I'm curious. 866-801-8255. Black Voices for Trump. He told news organizations that he recruited Cootie, so he's the high-profile individual that she was talking about, to meet with Freeman. Oh, he's definitely going down. Okay. Floyd said he then participated by phone in a meeting with Cootie, held with Freeman at a police station in the Georgia's Cobb County. Now, Floyd, as a chaplain, so he also loves the Lord. Okay. With connections in federal law enforcement. So he set up a meeting by a man he described as a chaplain with connections. He declined to name the clergyman and declined to give us the details. He said he arranged the meeting to help Freeman, poor Ruby Freeman, but they weren't trying to help her. Floyd said the chaplain, who is white, wanted him to approach Freeman, who is Black. Oh, Ruby Freeman becomes even more of a powerhouse. She's like the Rosa Parks of this scandal here. She was like, "Nah, I'm not giving up the lie. I won't give up my seat and lie." So he, so I guess the white man wanted him to go talk to the sister and have a conversation to discuss an immunity deal for her. Oh, y'all were really playing. I'm so glad that 60-something-year-old Black women from Georgia are not you aren't going to play in their faces. You will not, because they didn't live long enough to know some things and their wisdom, and they got the Holy Spirit running through their bone marrow, and they weren't trying to, like under normal circumstances, this might shake a few people. You got death threats, people showing up at your house, somebody offering you an immunity deal if you would just come forward and tell this lie. And still, Ruby Freeman said no. She said no to the knick-knack no. So that's something that I think y'all needed to know, because, this indictment is going to run probably around the clock on a loop. And I personally don't know how this is going to turn out, which is why I don't spend a whole lot of time. There are places and outlets for that, where they'll tell you chapter and verse, all of the things. And much like the chair in Alabama, it's cathartic, but it won't free us. So maybe the chair actually has more freedom abilities than talking about Trump's indictments over and over again, because here's the truth. Even if indicted for the fourth time, and even if convicted, and even if jailed, he can still run and win. So as long as that's still part of it, as long as that is still part of the equation, and if anything, and here's my concern with a Fani Willis or even a Letitia James in New York, that the Black faces that are responsible for the takedown will now also become targets. And then de facto, all Black people will be blamed for it. I'm okay with being blamed for it, as long as, we can stay safe. But, with that comes some things that, like, and then there's another part, like, does Georgia always have to rescue the world? Shout out to Georgia. I just want y'all like holding up the world, right? Y'all like Atlas. You're like the country's Atlas. George is like holding up the entire world single-handedly, and I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I run my fingers through her hair as she smiles and says that she loves me. Isn't it lovely when the one you're lusting is